For the start of the 2024 FIA Karting European Championship, the series returns to Valencia at the Kartódromo Internacional Lucas Guerrero after the track's successful debut in 2023. The team in Valencia have been doing an incredible job to get the venue ready for the start of the 2024 season, and with spring finally here, the drivers and teams seem poised to get ready to start the season in Valencia. With the Las Fallas Festival being in full swing over the last weekend, the drivers got to see a glimpse of what the festival is all about. Once again, the FIA Karting European Championship was flooded with drivers from all over the world, with over 200 drivers from 47 different nations in both the OK and OKJ categories competing for this year's European title. There's new changes as well for the 2024 season, with Maxis Racing joining the FIA Karting European Championship as the series' new tyre supplier, with P1 Fuels providing the championship with its biofuel to help secure a clean and healthy future for all forms of motorsport. Just like last year for the 2024, the series will be heading to new circuits, visiting the likes of Langendonck in France and the Slovak Karting Centre in Slovakia. And after a one-year break, the FIA Karting European Championship heads back to Kristianstad in Sweden. But it all starts here in Valencia, under the Spanish sun, for the drivers who start the new chapter of their racing careers in 2024. Local star Luna Flusha takes us on board for a lap around the Kartódromo Internacional Lucas Guerrero. Down the main straight, you then head in towards turn number 1, vital to get a good line into this corner as you hug that inside curb. Round the left-hand kink of turn 2 into the braking zone of turns 3 and 4 as you negotiate your way round into the next section here through 6, 7, 8 and 9. It's a vital section of the track, key to get a good run out of here as you then head down the infield straight, winding it through the revelations of the kart, now getting to the top speed of the kart into the braking zone of turn 11 now. As you go into the braking zone, again vital to pick up a good exit here as you then go into the longest and fastest part of the track. Through turn 14, watch out for the bumps on the outside of the turn as you negotiate your way round into that back straight through 15 and 16. Vital to pick up good apexes there as you come into the braking zone of the final chicane. Right, left, right, back onto the main straight here, and that is a lap of Valencia. The 2023 season was set to be the hardest and most demanding season we'd seen in years. With Thibaut Ramicas taking the win at the brand new track in Valencia, it would be a show of dominant performance. Joe Turney would take the win in the final for the senior category, the Briton moving to the Kart Republic team. He looked on fine form at the start of the season. We then went to the Steel Ring in the Czech Republic, another new circuit and another new set of winners. This time in the junior category, it would go the way of Alexander Bondarev for Ukraine. In the seniors, it would then move to Gabriel Gomez, the driver from Brazil looking on fine form all the way throughout the race. He would win by some margin, the driver for CRG certainly looking like he could be a contender in 2023. Over to Denmark in Rodby, another new circuit, and again this time it would be Alexander Bondarev in the junior category taking the first back-to-back win of the season. In the senior categories though, it would be a third different winner. This time it would go the way of René Lammers, who was looking consistent over the course of the season. For the final round in Italy, a fourth new circuit and a fourth new winner in the seniors, but not in the juniors. Thibaut Ramicas taking the win in the final, but the championship would go the way of Alexander Bondarev, both of them able to celebrate on the podium. In the senior category, it would be the trifecta for Luigi Coluccio. The Italian, racing on an Italian chassis and an Italian circuit, would take the win and would certainly look to be on fine form. René Lammers, though, would come out on top as he would be your champion. For 2024, expect nothing short of a fiercely competitive field, as drivers from around the world converge to showcase their skills on the European stage. With each driver representing their country and team, the championship becomes a melting pot for diversity and raw talent. In the OKJ category, the competition is at its highest level in years, with Jacopo Martinez from Italy looking strong, will have to contend with drivers such as Sebastian Mins from the UK, and of course, the junior world champion from last year, Belgium's Dries van Langendonck. Above all, the championship serves as a breeding ground for talent. nurturing the next generation of racing superstars, as the other Italian, Filippo Sala, looks to be a real challenge for the rest of the field in 2024. But in the senior category, Joe Turney is back and is fighting fit, ready for the season. But the fight will be on as his championship rivals get younger and thirsty for victory. Last year's junior European runner-up champion and runner-up Alexander Bondarev and Thibaut Ramikas have stepped up to the seniors and will surely want to prove a point to the grid. But you can't rule out the experience from last year's OK Junior runner-up, Gabriel Gomez. He's back and he's looking stronger than ever. To reach the final in the FIA Karting European Championship is an achievement in its own right, and for a handful of the 36, it was their first time making it to this point. With so many watching from around the world, the pride a driver must feel would be enough to never forget a moment like this. As the clouds loomed over the circuit, all eyes were focused as the tension was starting to build. The racing up until this point had been consistent for our drivers, starting on the front three rows. They had so much to think about. For Nicolas Schaeffler from Austria and Dries van Langendonck from Belgium, it would be a front row for them. Christian Costor from Spain and Sebastian Mins from the United Kingdom on row 2, Bosco Arias from Spain and Sebastian Lehtomäki from Finland. At the start of the race, it paid to be on that inside line. Nicolas Schaeffler, Christian Costor and Sebastian Lehtomäki all managing to break away on that inside line, with Boris Lysen getting a great start from the fourth row as well. He managed to slot into P5. Going down into the turn 3 corner, this is where it all started to kick off in the background, but it would be later on lap 2 that we'd see a change for second place, as Sebastian Lehtomäki would send it down the inside of Christian Costor, which started a chain reaction, allowing Nicolas Schaeffler to start to break away. At this point of the race, everyone was scrambling to try and get past the rolling roadblock that was Sebastian Lehtomäki, who would come back fighting later on in the race. At this point, it was Dries van Langendonck who went over the curb there, who was very lucky not to lose a chain. Later on in the lap, it would all kick off going down into the final chicane, as Boris Lysen would go for the move on Noah Baglin. Baglin taking to the runoff area, but on the exit, another driver who got caught out was Alfie Slater. Unfortunately, the kart breaking down, he was out of the race on lap number 4. Later on the same lap as well, it all started to kick off here, as Bosco Arias went down the inside of Christian Costor. He would get up into P4. Later on as well, you would see this man here, James Anagnostiidis, starting to go for the moves, sending it down the inside through turn number 6, getting past with Scott Lindblom following in tow as well. Later on in the race as well, the two Spaniards once more going wheel to wheel, Bosco Arias and Christian Costor going absolutely nose to tail down the back straight in the hopes of closing in to the race leader Nicolas Schaeffler, who at this point had broken away by nearly 1.5 seconds. As the race got on to lap number 6, we went on board with Thomas Perdue with one of the new live on boards, as you can see here, getting very close to Scott Lindblom as they went through turn number 14. Later on in the race, this onboard would prove vital in knowing what happened to this man here. James Anagnostiidis from Australia, unfortunately out of the race through turn number 1, trying to get it restarted, unfortunately not having the energy to get it going. This shot here would explain everything we needed to know, as down the inside, unfortunately no room was had, and out of the race with James Anagnostiidis. The race would continue, and on to lap number 8, Bosco Arias getting down the inside of Sebastian Lehtomäki, who was on a charge back at this point after falling back in the early stages of the race. Bosco Arias would then get the move back done on Christian Costor, who was then starting to fight his way back through the field. On lap number 11, we saw the retirement of the South African Ethan Lennon. Unfortunately for him, his final over just nearing the end of the race. It was at this point here we started to see a battle ensue for the race lead. Nicolas Schaeffler, who we all thought had broken away to go on to an early victory, was starting to get reeled in by the Belgian Dries van Langendonck. It was at this point here that down into turn 1 we saw a huge move here for the race lead. Van Langendonck down the inside, it was the beginning of an epic battle between these two, with Schaeffler and Van Langendonck going wheel to wheel all the way throughout the next few laps. It was at this point though that the rest of the field started to close in, with Schaeffler sending it down the inside. Sebastian Mins, Bosco Arias, Christian Costoya and Sebastian Lettmarque were all starting to close back in on the lead battle, which gave everyone hope. No one knew who was going to win the race at this point. It was all down to these two battling away. Van Langendonck would take that final blow into the final chicane. He would hold on to the lead for the majority of the last few laps of the race, but Nicolas Schaeffler would certainly make it difficult for them. Arias on the outside there trying to fight his way through, not able to get past Christian Costoya until the final lap of the race. It would only kick off a little bit later on though, when Sebastian Lettmarque would start to close back in. At this point here, there were 3 wide going into the braking zone of turn 11. It was almost over there for Nicolas Schaeffler as he went wheel to wheel with Sebastian Mins. It would come to blow though later on in the race, because on the penultimate lap of that race, it would be the demise of Nicolas Schaeffler. He would then fall back into about P4. He would then almost lose P5, but then it would be the wheel-to-wheel blow with Sebastian Lettmarque. In through this next sector here, all was looking fine, but then on the exit, the two drivers going wheel-to-wheel, unfortunately, they would tangle, and both, that's Sebastian Lettmarque and Nicolas Schaeffler, were out of the race. Both clearly frustrated at each other, and both wanting to know what on earth happened, but unfortunately for them, it was all over. It was all over as well for this man here. Boris Lysen unfortunately not making it to the end of the race. He was out also on that penultimate lap of the race. The final lap though certainly proved exciting for the two Spaniards in P3. Bosco Arias sending it down the inside through turn number 4, the Spaniard getting up onto the 3rd spot of the podium. But for this man here, Dries Van Langendonck, it would be a superb final. With only the one more corner to go, he would see the checkered flag and the smoke across the circuit, the Belgian taking the win in the final and the first round of the FIA Karting European Championship. He would celebrate with his fellow racers on the track, but clearly you could see how much this meant to the driver for Forza Racing, once again proving that a satellite team can take it to the factory manufacturers in the FIA European Karting Championship. As they came back and onto the podium, it was all smiles for the top 3 drivers. As the trophies came out thick and fast, you can imagine everyone was super happy. Well, let's take a look at the top 10 at the end of the OK Junior final as Dries Van Langendonck from Sebastian Mins, Bosco Arias from Christian Costoya, Filippo Sala from Noah Baglin, Daniel Kelleher from Thomas Pradier, Roman Kamiab, and the top 10 rounded out by Scott Lindblom. On the podiums, it would be all smiles around the Belgian for Dries Van Langendonck taking the win, but for Bosco Arias for Spain to represent his home country on the podium here, it was a delight for Sebastian Mins as well. Big smiles, but the biggest smile was for this boy here, Dries Van Langendonck, the Belgian, on top form throughout it, and the champagne started to flow.
Yeah, very good, amazing start to the season. Couldn't have been more perfect than this. Great championship point as well. We're leading the standings going into the next round. So yeah, just very happy with the results. Very happy with the team. Did an amazing job, and we'll just keep focusing for the next round.
Yeah, it was a big step forward from last year. I think I didn't even make the final last year, so it's good coming away with the P2. I think it was good towards like the superheat, and all the heats were good, very consistent, and final I was just hoping for a top 5 and then came over the P2, so it was good.
It's my first round of the European Championship and my first year in OK Junior, and it's super good to be here in the podium in the first round, and I'm very happy. It's nice to be here in home and go to the podium. Here, my friend was here, and it's super good to go to the podium in home, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it was a good weekend, obviously for Dries and the whole team. Yes, it was a difficult day. Yeah, it wasn't the easiest day yesterday, but overnight we worked hard. And today we turned it around and got the result we wanted. We'll be trying. We're going to be testing next week in France. We'll keep working like everyone else. We're all working hard, so hopefully we can carry it on to the end of the season, but it's very hard work.
It was the beginning of a new story for so many drivers in the senior final, with so many of the juniors from last year stepping up to the plate. However, it would be a close fight in the qualifying heats between both Gabriel Gomez and Joe Turney. With the grid being full of the world's most talented direct drive drivers, the eyes of the world were looking down at Valencia. For all of our drivers, this is another stepping stone in their racing career, and for Gomez and Turney, it would be a front row start. Sebastiano Pavan and young Luis Werrell would start on the second row, with Ian Eichmans and Luis Iglesias on the third row of the grid. What they do now could mean so much more further down the road. The start of the Senior OK final was relatively calm, the beginning seemingly looking to be under control by Gabriel Gomez, who swooped into the lead in the early stages. Down the inside, it would be Joe Turney, who would hold on to P2 in the early stages of the race, who would soon later start to really struggle. Pavan held on to third, with Luis Werrell holding on into P4, with the rest of the grid all making it through, with only some karts having to take to the dusty part. At this point, Anatoly Kavalkin would dive down the inside of Ian Eichmans. Both of them would lose out, as the two CRGs would break their way through. The three Paralympic teammates, though, of Kavalkin, Drummond and Vivek Kanthan would soon start to work together before this dramatic moment at turn number 1. Stepan Antonov and Miguel Costa, thankfully, were okay after this scary incident at turn number 1, but clearly both of them very frustrated with each other, but thankfully both okay. On lap 4, you would see another big move here. Markus Schilkunis sending it down the inside of Ian Eichmans, but both of them losing out to the two Paralins of Anatoly Kavalkin and Zach Drummond, who made their way through turn 14. Later on in the race, on to lap number 5, and again we would see the moves here. Joe Turney sending it down the inside on Sebastiano Pavan. Unfortunately, the move not working out. Pavan, with a lot of damage, would have to retire from the race. That allowed the race to continue on though, but it would still kick off further down in the order. Drivers seemingly trying to file their way through the grid, struggling into that final chicane, which has caused so much drama over the course of the weekend. Zach Drummond would then send it down the inside through turn number 11, again one of the key overtaking points throughout the entire circuit, making the move work. We then went on board with Matías Morgado, the world champion from 2022, again fighting his way through the field to try and gain as many positions as he possibly could. On lap number 7, chasing down Ian Eichmans at the time. He eventually did close in on Ian Eichmans, again sending it over the curbs to get down the inside, moving up another position. It was at this point the young Belgian Timo Ramikers started to make his way through the field as we went on to lap number 11. Again, the Belgian looking so strong throughout the entirety of the qualifying heats. He would then later send it down the inside on Eichmans. This allowed the CRG of Davide Battaro to also get a wheel down the inside through turn 14, Eichmans losing 2 places in one section. On to lap 12, and this time it would be the Tony Kart driver of Javier Arvamides who would send it down the inside. Markus Schilkunis would start to fight back, and so would Luna Flusha. Raymond Racing driver making her way through the field. It was at this moment here though, for Javier Arvamides, that total kart control needed his full vital attention, amazingly managing to hold on to this one as he went wheel to wheel with Ian Eichmans. And this page of the race, an accident like that is something you definitely do not want. A lap later, it would be Timo Ramikers who would start sending moves down the inside. He would get past the Brazilian of Matías Morgado, the junior driver from 2023, certainly showing he deserves to be in the senior category in 2024. Later on in the race, Gomez looked in full control. There was a little bit of drama. Luis Iglesias was starting to close in. the two CRGs looking so strong throughout the entirety of this final as they continued to maintain the gaps all the way throughout the rest of the race. Seemingly though, just behind, it looked like Lewis Well was also starting to close in for P2. Luis Iglesias doing a fantastic job in second place, just maintaining the pace and holding on to his fellow teammate ahead. But eyes were on this man here, Lewis Werrell, in his first year in the senior category, fighting for a podium position, with Joe Turney just behind, who was under investigation though after that incident with Sebastiano Pavan. Once again, Thibaut Ramekers was on the charge, this time getting past Anatoly Kavalkin. In the parallel, both of them again dancing their way through turn number 14, the young Belgians seemingly on a complete charge here. But for Gabriel Gomez, it would be a dominant performance. Celebrating before he even got to the line, he knew he had this one in the bag. And for Gomez, it would be the start of the season that he will want. Just like last year, for Gabriel Gomez, he starts strong, but the main question is that can he maintain this momentum through the rest of the season? For Luis Iglesias and for Lewis Werrell, it would still be a fantastic final for them, scoring a second place and a third place respectively. But as you can see, it means so much to the young man from Brazil. So how did the top 10 look at the end of the final? It was Gabriel Gomez and Luis Iglesias on the top 2 spots, with Lewis Werrell rounding out the top 3 on the podium. Joe Turney held on to P4 from Thibaut Ramekers and Anatoly Kavalkin, Zach Drummond from Mateusz Morgato, Davide Botaro, and Lithuania's Markus Šilkunis. Well, as the finals ended, the smiles came out for the drivers, and for CRG, it was a dominant performance with 2 of their drivers on the podium. Forza Racing, though, can smile here, with one of their junior drivers from last year stepping up into seniors and showing he has got what it takes, with Lewis Werrell taking P3. But smiles were all round for the CRG team, as the Italian team certainly looking on fine form in 2024.
We do an incredible week. All the week we have an impressive pace, and now in this final we have amazing pace in the first laps. In the first 5-7 laps I managed to get a really good gap, and then later was only to manage that. It was a camera race for me, but in the first laps I need to push really hard to get a good space, and then later was a good race. Only the chassis was perfect, also the engine, and then was only manage the gap. Also last year we do an amazing job here, but we missed only to win the final, and now we're making a perfect start with maximum points for the championship. I think it's a good start for the championship, and we need to get better always and keep like that.
Yeah, I start on the P6, so it's a little bit in the rear. So after I go up, and the P2 it's good. It's a good result for the start of the championship. The Maxxis tire are very good. And my package is just incredible. The engine very good, chassis also, so very good.
I'm very happy, only being 13 years old, driving with people that are 5 to 8 years older than me, and to get on the podium. I did it last year, but to do it again is very good, and I'm looking forward to the next couple races. I'm bringing a bit over to seniors what I have from juniors, but when there's such talented drivers in seniors, you learn a lot. This weekend, I think I've learned a lot, and I'm very happy with how it's planned out.
What can I say? Perfect result. New job for me this year, and a better start than that. We, of course, in the race, you have to be have the fortune of somebody else's misfortune. We were at the right place at the right time. The package was basically flawless. In the way we work, we do our best for every driver, and from there it's up to them. They have to do their best as we do our best for them, and then the result you see in front of us now, 1-2.
For the junior world champion Dries van Langendonck, it's mission accomplished in Spain. Once again, the Forza Racing team are showing they can provide a superb package for the young Belgian as he pushes for the European title in 2024. But for the factory CRG team, this weekend could go down as the most successful opening round in years. For Gabriel Gomez and Luis Iglesias, it could be the start of a dream team for TRG, with a change in management for the 2024 season, with Brandon Nilsson and Natalia Bilbao stepping up to the top. Can the team keep up this momentum as we head to Langendonck in France for round 2? With an ever-competitive field, we can only wait and see. But for now, CRG are in a league of their own with Gabriel Gomez and Luis Iglesias.